All right, so the merge cube. First thing that we need to do is get the Android Studio installed.
It did not prompt me for a downloading the different SDK things.
Oh, it's because you got to tell it.
Oh, okay.
This is the stop. Because it's actually going to get worse than that. You're going to go into Android Studio, you're going to download a selection of different types of SDKs, and then you have to go into it and you're going to have to replace a folder from an older version of Android Studio. Because the new version doesn't work with Unity. It just, I don't know, one line of code in one of the files is wrong, but I'll show you where to download the stuff that does work. Otherwise, it's going to be very painful and lots of Google searches. Where did my Android Studio go? It's not over there. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you bring up Android Studio for the first time, and you go down here and configure Sdk Manager.
Okay. Holy buckets.
Okay, well, you don't need all of these. Fortunately, we're not going to be the stuff that we're going to be working on, we're going to be assuming that somebody's got a phone that's no older than a year and a half or 2 years old. So we really don't need anything earlier than like Android 5.1 Lollipop.
And we want the P preview?
Only if you're going to be building for Android P, which
Probably.
eventually you will, yeah. Most everything running around now is running on Oreo. So if you got at least, from P down to Android 5.1, you're probably going to be pretty good. And just select all those and then hit OK. And then it'll go through and
Were there any of the other tools or things that you clicked?
yeah, one of the things you want to look for where it says Android Studio Tools 25.2.5, and it'll say an update available 26.1.1. 26.1.1 breaks Unity, so you want 25.2.5.
It came with 26.1.
It does come with 26.2.1, which is why you're going to need to do a Google search for Android Tools are 25.2.5.
And this is still broken with the new Unity?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now maybe there'll be an update in a couple of weeks that fixes it. And usually something like this happens every time they roll out Unity. What we're struggling with here, Unity progresses at its own sort of internal development pace. That's separate from Android. The Android Studio and the Android tools, they progress at a different rate. Vuforia progresses at a different rate. MergeCube progresses at a different rate. So whenever a new version of one of these comes out, they're not beholden to the others to make sure that everybody's on the same page. That if I roll out a software update, I got no reason. I got nothing to make me want to make sure that everything that may use it is not going to be broken by it. Eventually, they all sort of catch up with each other, but you're always going to be in a position of trying to make sure, does everything work with everything that I'm working with? And this is getting into some elaborate territory here, because we're bringing in libraries from all sorts of different places to provide functionality that we don't want to have to write ourselves. So that's a trade-off. You could just do it from scratch. Nope. So once you get the SDKs updated, you want to get the Android Android SDK tools, R25.2.5, and then that's going to come in just as a regular zip file. And all you have to do, there's a tools folder under your SDK. You just have to replace that tools folder with this one. And these are the tools that Unity will use. What you'll get if you don't do this right, what you'll get is you'll get a warning when Unity tries to build that says it cannot determine the device capabilities, which is it's a really meaningless error message. What it really should say is, hey, you're using incompatible tools. But instead what it says, I can't determine the device capabilities. Okay, whatever. Because that's the tool that breaks, is the platform specific capabilities of the phone that I'm trying to build it to. All right. So, cancel. The other thing that we probably downloaded is this MergeCube SDK, where it says MergeCube SDK 1.2.2, and it's a Unity package. Now, I can just double click on this and it'll bring it into Unity. Another way to bring it into Unity is to go up here to Assets and then Import Package, Custom Package. So Unity uses these asset packages to bundle up blocks of code and blocks of assets and move them around and bring them into different types of projects. So what's in this MergeCube SDK is everything that Unity needs to work with the MergeCube. The SDK is provided by the MergeCube manufacturer. It's a third-party thing, and there's a lot of expectation that all I have to do is import it and it'll work. That's my expectation. So we go to Import Package, Custom Package, or if you know where the package is, you can double click on it. Go to Downloads, there's my MergeCube SDK, click Open, and we got some more green bars to watch crawl across the screen. Now, I've already imported the MergeCube SDK into this, so it doesn't really have anything to import. Here's a list of the stuff that it would import were I to import anything, but since it's all already in there, I'll just let it go through the process here. All right, so oh man, I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? The MergeCube works with two different SDK packages. It's got its own sort of thing that it works with, and then it's also uses Vuforia, which is an augmented reality sort of library. Now, Vuforia is built into Unity. So I don't have to download anything or import anything. I just have to make sure that it's a module that I've added to Unity when I download it. So when you first download Unity, it's got a bunch of stuff. You get the sample documentation, you've got example projects, then you've got WebGL support, Linux support, Mac support, Facebook support. Somewhere in all of that list is Vuforia Augmented Reality. Now I can click on that and it'll download the Vuforia components when it installs Unity, but they're not necessarily part of your project right off the bat. I have to sort of tell Unity to bring the Vuforia stuff in. And that's done. I can right click over here in the hierarchy, and if I've installed the Vuforia module, I'll see Vuforia as a type of object that I can do. And if I tell it to bring in an AR camera, it'll create an AR camera right there in the scene. Now this is a special kind of camera.
Mine says if some assets need to be imported, just say import now.
Yeah, yeah. So the first time you do that, it's going to say, hey, you need to import some assets. You want to import them now? Yeah, sure. Because it's not going to work without them. So might as well. Now, I've already done that for this one, is why it didn't tell me that. Right. And it'll probably create this Vuforia folder here. Now, when you're working with the merge cube, you don't need very much of Vuforia. So Vuforia has a way of, I can upload images to Vuforia, I can process them into target images, I can download them as a database, and Vuforia keeps all of that stuff online. So you register with Vuforia as a developer, they give you your developer credentials, that's all free. I upload my images to Vuforia, so they have my images that I've been working with. And they make the target images and they make the database that I download and actually use. So there's an awful lot that goes through Vuforia's hands in terms of me getting the capability of doing something with it. It's probably my only knock on Vuforia is how much control they maintain over my application. I wish there was an easier way of doing it. That control that they maintain over all the assets and my credentials and the files that I use and the target images that I create makes it real easy for them to impose a licensing fee on top of any application that I build. And that's where Vuforia gets expensive. They want like $500 per application that I publish. Until I publish it, I don't own a thing, right? If I'm just playing around with it, if I'm just developing it, and it's like, hey, you want to check out my new stupid phone trick? Watch what my phone can do. But your phone can't do this. As long as that's all I'm doing with it, then no harm, no foul. No money needs to change hands. But as soon as I make a Vuforia app and I publish it, put it on the store, they're going to want their piece of the action.
Even if you're giving the app away?
If you're giving it away, I think that's only if I'm selling it.
Okay.
You might have to look. I think I can give away an app. I'm not sure about that, though.
Or they may work with you for pricing or something.
Or they may work with you. Now, Google's AR Core is a new, and it's also supported by Unity. AR Core is free, not necessarily open source. Some parts of it are, some parts of it aren't. But it also works with target images. It actually works with a whole lot more than target images. This is how I did the TARDIS. So AR Core is doing some really cool things with the camera vision, and it's visually keeping track of the camera's location in a real 3D space, which is something Vuforia doesn't do yet. Vuforia looks at images that it recognizes, and based on the shape of that image that it sees in the camera view, it can reverse project the camera's location relative to this. So if let's say I see that and I'll go, oh, okay, well, it's a little bit oblong, but I know because I know I have a database of these target images, I know it's supposed to be square. The difference between the shape that I see and the squareness that I know that it is, I can reverse that matrix transformation of the camera, figure out where the camera is in real space relative to this thing here, and that's what Vuforia does with the merge cube. When it recognizes the merge cube, it looks at the shape of these target images and figures out where the phone, in this case the phone is the camera, where the camera has to be in order for that to match up in the camera view. Then what it does is it takes a 3D model and replaces the portion of the cube with the 3D model. We're going to talk about that here momentarily. So we've got Vuforia, I've got my AR camera. Now before I was talking about how you can't have more than one camera in a scene. Well, you can, but you really only need one. Because I've brought in a new augmented reality camera, I can get rid of this main camera that I've been working with for a long time. So I'm just going to come up here to the top and turn it off. Oh, I forgot to mention this too. This little toggle up here at the very top of a game object sets it to be an active or inactive, which is, there's a subtle difference between active and enabled. But this makes it inactive. It's going to be largely ignored by the game engine when it's running. You can almost say that it's not really there. It's still sort of there, but it's not going to do anything. Nothing's going to have access to it. It's sort of like Schrodinger's cat. It's both. It's active and it's inactive. It's alive and it's dead. So I just turned it off. So for all intents and purposes, there's only the one AR camera in the scene. Now I need to bring in a couple of merge cube doohickeys. Merge cube SDK. Now, once you install these two SDKs and it brings in these assets, you get this big folder structure in my assets folder. And here's what I'm looking for right here. So I look under the prefabs. There's two prefabs. There's one that's called Merge Cube. What is the name of that? Merge Cube SDK? Yeah, Merge Cube SDK prefab. And then multi-target merge prefab. I'm going to drop both of these into my scene. Merge Cube SDK, I actually don't have to do anything with. The Merge Multi-Target gives me this little cube, and I don't really want to do anything with that cube. But that cube, that little purple and black cube, represents this thing. So if I think about that purple and black cube being this cube, then the geometry in the scene relative to this cube is how big my geometry is going to look relative to this cube in my hand.
Do you always want to leave the cube at 1, 1, 1 and resize everything around it?
Yep. Yeah. So I'll leave the cube at a position of 0, 0, 0, leave it a rotation of 0, 0, 0, leave it a scale of 1, 1, 1, and then the stuff that I want to happen around it needs to be a child of this merge multi-target scalar root, not the reference cube. The reference cube is actually going to go away. So if I make it a child of this reference cube, then I won't see anything because the first thing that happens is the reference cube deletes itself. All the children of the reference cube are going to delete themselves. So it needs to be a sibling of the reference cube, not a child of the reference cube. So I can take my Earth Eye, drop it down here as a child of merge multi-target scalar root, and I can see that my Earth is really big. Okay, I get that. My Earth is just huge. Relative to my cube, it's big. So I probably want to scale this down. I'm going to go down to about 1/10 of the size. All right. Now, you notice it took the Earth, it took the Moon, it took everything with it because I scaled the parent, and all the children scaled down with it. How big is my cube? So my reference cube is still a bit smaller. I can see my reference cube inside my Earth. How is that going to look? It's going to be about the size of a basketball. Let me give that a shot, though.
So basically your hand would be lost as opposed to scaling it so it's showing
Right.
your fingers more kind of way.
Right.
I have a globe for a hand.
Sound like a Dick Tracy villain.
Right?
This looks like the work of Globe Hand.
Globe hand smash.
I didn't know Globe Hand had gotten out of prison. All right. So I'm going to save this scene. Go to Build Settings. I'm going to add this scene. Oh, it's already there. Earthy Spin. There we go. I'm already set up for Android. Now I'm going to come over here to Player Settings, run through this one last time. Company name, SCSU VizLab. Product name is Workshop Demo. I like that name. One thing that you want to make sure is that under XR settings that Vuforia Augmented Reality is supported. AR Core is the other Google Augmented Reality thing. You cannot have them both. You have to decide. AR Core or Vuforia. AR Core or Vuforia. Now the merge cube comes with a predefined Vuforia database, so I don't have to load up the images that are on here. Merge cube's already done that. Merge cube's already made the arrangements with Vuforia to make the database downloadable and make all that nice and easy. But what we need to do, we're still not quite ready yet. In my assets folder, right off the top of my assets folder, something that gets added to both of these SDKs when you import them, there's a merge configuration and there's a Vuforia configuration file. Now, the license keys that I sent you, the Vuforia license key goes under here under this app license key. You can be able to copy and paste that right out of that email. And the same thing with the Vuforia. Here's a license key for the merge cube.
I'm not getting any of those.
Me either.
You're not? Even after you did the...
Do we have to do the build thing first?
No.
What?
No, maybe because I didn't save it, I didn't do some of the other stuff that I needed.
Okay. What happens if you go to... Did you import the merge? Yeah, because there's a merge cube. All right, so go into the merge cube SDK. Open that up. You go down under...
Is it this resources?
No, this should be in the top resources. Now, I don't remember having to move it. I just remember it showing up there. Right there.
But maybe because I haven't tried to save it or do anything with it, I don't know.
What happens if you click play? Tom, I was hoping that they would magically sort of...
I don't think there's much left in my scene. There's not.
There's nothing in this. Let me take a look.
There it is.
Huh.
Script core.
Yeah, that's probably some sort of script that moves it to where it goes, because I've always just sort of found it right there in the resources folder.
Maybe it's because the Android thing isn't fully set. It's still doing the download for Android Studio.
That doesn't make any sense either. Could be. I mean, sunspots. Why not?
How did you get the inspector thing over on the side here?
Oh, I just dragged it over.
Just to, no, I mean the list
Oh,
where you
no,
picked
oh.
the Vuforia thing. Player settings?
Player settings. Yeah. And then down there at the bottom, XR settings.
I need to agree to the terms. Fine. Okay.
Okay, close this out. Come back over here to the resources.
There's the
Well, there's
Vuforia.
one of them.
A new version of Vuforia. isn't it?
Ignore that. Ignore that.
Okay.
You'll be fine with this version.
So maybe, how did you, it was merge, prefab, you grab both of these.
Maybe dragging them into the scene creates it.
Yep.
Ah.
Well, you have to use it.
You have to use it before to do it. Okay.
Now, once you put this key in for this one project, it's in for all of them, right? It
No.
knows to, So you have to do this every time.
In
So in other
fact,
words, save that email.
right, save that email, hang on to that, because one of the things I noticed when I was playing around with this this morning, I put the merge cube and the Vuforia keys in a different scene in the same project, and the key's gone. So it may not even be more than once for multiple projects. It may be more than once for multiple scenes in the same project. Because what's up here now is merge in-house development, merge. But last time I did something with this project, it was my merge cube key, which fortunately I still have. And I've talked to the guys that gave me this. Anybody can use it. They don't let all of your students use it, they said. Before you gave me no such license.
I'm not getting any of the email.
Okay. So,
Did you get it?
What you're saying.
oh,
Yeah.
that's right, because I didn't send it to you.
That's right, so you got the.
I didn't send it to you either.
Oh, so it's,
So this is this.
so good, you're fine with that?
This is,
So
I
you're
don't
fine.
need to change this whole thing.
No, did you download that other number thing?
No. 'Cause it was this top one, right? I got it.
Yes, the top Windows one. Yeah, so we'll do that one in a second, but if you go back to.
Which,
The
That's
third
the
one.
one.
okay.
Yep.
This is not a very highly powered. Okay, so for this,
Because I still have this open, I still just have the.
right, well, then don't worry about that one. So you can close that for now.
Fix it.
Yeah, we'll add that back.
Like that.
What's your last name, Dan?
Import all.
There you go.
That's fine.
All right.
All right. So that should be pretty quick.
Okay, so there. Now you guys will have these keys.
Yeah, great.
If you do wind up doing a lot of stuff with Vuforia, the only thing I would ask you, feel free to use this as much as you want. Merch, they don't care. They're giving these things away. But Vuforia, the Vuforia key is my key. So if you're going to do anything seriously, I would appreciate it if you would go to Vuforia and get your own key if it's something that you're
And
going
they
to
are free, right?
Yeah, they're free.
Okay.
They're free to generate.
Okay, dude.
In the meantime, though, feel free to, I don't care.
That's easy enough to register.
It's easy enough to register, yeah.
Okay. So we're almost there.
Dr. Robin Wacker is our new president.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed when Tony was over, but he said he was very impressed by her speech.
I did not hear that.
A couple of meteorology grads from a few years ago are now professors at her old institution, and they said that they loved her there.
Well, that's good.
So very, very promising sound for a good choice for a president for us. So
Well, I would rather see them take their sweet time and pick somebody good.
I mean, I was happy with President Biden. I'm sad he's gone, but she sounds pretty good from the people that I know on the committee and others that have been involved said,
I just want to get Jan Gregory back in the dean's office.
no kidding.
Okay.
Although where he is not a bad thing for us either.
Well, that's right. He's in a good spot for us. But just in terms of the day-to-day workings and overall morale,
I think the folks there would be just okay with that too.
Yeah.
But getting some things stabilized sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Right click over on the left side. Sample something. And go to Vuforia and AR camera. So import that. So that's going to add the asset thing there that you will eventually need. If you disable the main camera and hit play, does it use the AR camera?
It will, or it should. What it'll try to do is it'll try to use the webcam as if it's your phone camera if you have a webcam on there. If you don't have a webcam on there, you'll just get a black screen.
Okay.
Or you'll get an error message. If the keys aren't put in there right, you'll get an error message. If the merge cube key is missing, you'll get a purple screen and an error message. If the Euphoria key is not in there right, you'll get a white screen and an error message.
You sound like you've had this happen before.
Not my first rodeo.
Is this how you cast your phone?
Yeah.
I want to learn how to do that.
Okay, that's easy. You go to a website called web.airmore.com,
Okay.
and then there's an app that you put on your phone called Airmore File Transfer.
Okay.
So you go to web.airmore.com,
Yep.
you tell it to, it'll put up a QR code.
Yep.
You open Airmore app, you scan the QR code, and now the two are linked.
Oh, you need the app.
You do need the app, needs to be, the Airmore app needs to be on the phone.
This needs access to everything on your phone.
Yeah.
Well, if it's transferring files, maybe.
It's transferring files, it's recording video, it's taking pictures, it's,
People be stalking you for everything.
Don't read, just accept.
What I just did. It's inspiring. Wow, yeah, it knows battery power and all sorts of crazy things.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
This is everything.
That's really disturbing.
I've actually found this is my preferred way to move data back and forth to the phone if I've got like some big video files and stuff and need to move over. I like
Now,
this.
is any of this going through them? Like, they're not an intermediary. It's literally just computer to phone, right?
It's going over your local Wi-Fi. So this won't work if my phone and my laptop are on two different networks.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, so it's not going through them. It's not like if I were to transfer music, it's all stored on their
Right.
servers.
Right. No, it's just going directly from computer to phone. Right.
Okay.
They don't, and it never even leaves your local network. So it's a direct network connection between the two devices.
Okay.
So
So then how do you get something on the screen? They got it in, but
well, when you
it says welcome.
let's see. You have to. Okay, go over here to reflector. Oh,
Well, look at that.
and then it's on start now. And now there's your phone in the middle of the screen.
Okay. That's too cool.
Isn't that neat?
That's fantastic.
Okay,
It's scary.
so we're going to come back over here to Unity for a second. We're so close. So close. I can taste it. Go back to build settings. I'm going to go to build and run. I'm going to use this workshop demo.apk and I'm going to click on the save button.
I don't have a new teaching tool.
I'm just looking at a full screen.
Now, if you've got everything set up right, it should breeze right through this.
You have a huge television,
You do that sometimes.
but not for your phone.
Also,
Total need on normal
So take
and
both of
develop.
those and control settings.
so if you don't put your phone in developer mode,
Shift,
then
select
you
everything like
can't
that, control,
do
select individual.
what they call
Doesn't
side loading an app.
matter. And then
So
drag that to the-
I can build an APK and I can copy it over to the phone. If I've got developer permissions on the phone,
So now
I can
you've got
install
the
that app
computer, you can do-
without having to go through any kind of place
So now,
or without
if
that
you're
app
going to-
being published or being verified. If I'm going to publish an app, then I have to digitally sign it, and then it has to be verified as
Okay, so if you're from-
compatible with different Android versions. Developer mode, I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to sign it, I don't have to publish it. I just build it and then I deploy it. And developer mode is what allows, what gives the phone the permissions, or gives you the permissions to do that on the phone. It's not exactly the same thing as what they call jailbreaking a phone or rooting a phone. A lot of times that involves it making a change to the actual operating system on the phone. We're not doing any of that. The Android operating system allows us to have those kind of controls. Okay, so my application is running on my phone. And here comes the real test. Bum, 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 bum.
Cool. Colors are off, but other than that, that's amazing. And your hand is mostly invisible, which is awesome.
Mostly invisible. And it does appear to be the size of about a basketball.
You are officially a Dick Tracy villain.
That's right.
So what's with the layer why that seam isn't black like it was on the screen?
Why the seam is not black?
Yeah.
Why is it blue?
Is there still an earth glow thing from before?
I bet it's that stupid earth glow thing. I bet it is that stupid earth glow thing. Because it doesn't look that way on the screen. Well, it's not going to look that way on the screen because that's not the... I'm just going to turn that off.
So then you have to save it and rebuild it?
Yeah, now I have to save it and rebuild it. Now, the first time you build something on your phone, it's going to ask you for debug rights. So you'll actually get another message that comes up on the phone that says, hey, do you want to allow USB debugging from this computer? And you'll have to tell it yes at least once.
Now, how do you get the thing onto the phone? I missed that part.
Well, when the phone is plugged into the computer, I'm doing build and run instead of just
so it
build.
knows because it's attached to the computer?
Yeah. Yeah, and it just copies it over through that tether, and then it'll actually start it up after it installs. But
So it's not actually transferring the APK where it becomes like an app that can run. It just is kind of running it.
no, it installs it. It installs it as an APK that it's an app that you can run after this.
So it's in your apps list?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, that looks a lot better, doesn't it?
That's way too cool. Anywhere in the background.